Hey folks, it's Chris, and I want to talk to you about one of the big superheroes out there, Wonder Woman. So important and influential. I think after 75 years, if you were to go up to somebody on the street and say, name a female superhero, the average person is probably going to say Wonder Woman. But if you look at the Wonder Woman in comics today, she's quite different than that of the one from the 1940s that her creator gave us. So we're going to actually look at one of those early stories. Just as way of background, she was created back in 1941 by a guy named William Moulton Marston. He was a scientist and a psychologist. He and his wife had actually created something that monitors systolic blood pressure. That went on to become a key component in the lie detector test. So they were kind of already famous for that. And somewhere along the line, he was giving an interview to Family Circle where he mentioned that he thought comic books were not being used to their full potential as an educational medium, like a way to get ideas across to all sorts of people, and especially the youth. Now, there was a publisher named Max Gaines who saw that interview and was like, I got to bring this guy in, have him create something. Max Gaines worked at two different publishers that went on to merge and become DC Comics. So he was an early influential publisher. He went on to found Educational Comics, and when he passed away, his son William Gaines inherited that. He changed that name to just EC Comics for Entertaining Comics, and that's who published things like Tales from the Crypt. Side story, back to William Moulton Marston. So he wanted to create a superhero that represented like love and hope as well as strength. And his wife Elizabeth was like, fine, do it, but she better be a woman. Well, another key influence in the creation of Wonder Woman was William and Elizabeth's mistress. Yeah, they lived with another woman named Olive Byrne, and she was supposedly the visual inspiration for Wonder Woman. So Moulton Marston is a guy with some interesting ideas. He believed very strongly in the idea of bondage and submission as a noble pursuit. So the early Wonder Woman stories were chock full of bondage. We're going to take a look at one of these early stories and see how many times that shows up. Let's get to it. This is issue number 3 of Wonder Woman by William Moulton Marston, who worked under the pen name Charles Moulton. That's the middle name of Max Gaines and himself. And then it's illustrated by Wonder Woman's co-creator, an artist named Harry G. Peter. Peter's art is interesting here on the first page. He was pretty different than a lot of the other artists working at the time. He originally had a style that was influenced by Charles Dana Gibson, who did a lot of artwork for Life magazine, but when he decided to start illustrating comic books, he went with a more Art Nouveau cartooning style. And right away on the first page, we've got Wonder Woman's origin and a tease of what will happen in the story, and we can see that Wonder Woman is tied up. So there's our first trope. Let's see Bondagey the bondage guy. Okay, back to the story. Wonder Woman has a secret identity, that of Diana Prince, who is basically a secretary in U.S. intelligence, and she's talking to her friend Etta Candy. Let's pause the story for just a moment. Wonder Woman has always struck me as a character that maybe had one idea too many, at least. First of all, she's from an island of all-female Amazons that no one else knows about. They were created by, or at least worshipped, the Greek gods, depending on the sort of origin we look at. Now, that's cool. That's unique. That's amazing. She goes out into man's world with her super strength and love and compassion to try to make the world a better place. Awesome. She also has amazing Amazonian technology. We're talking mentally controlled phones, indestructible bracelets, an invisible jet, a lot of weird stuff, but hey, that's part of what makes her a superhero. I've always thought that it was just a little weird that she was also so sort of patriotic, specifically American patriotic. You know, her costume is kind of red, white, and blue, and she works with a secret identity for U.S. intelligence. Just seems like one element too many. But, you know, World War II was going on at the time, and so that was based on what was happening in the world then. Etta Candy, her best friend, is a delight. Listen to how she talks. "Listen, Di, you gotta do something. Eve and her roommate Dot were arrested this morning at Holiday College." Leaping over Diana's desk on the next page, she explains the story. Two of their friends were arrested when a Nazi spy was interrogated by the FBI and ratted them out. Now Diana's like, "Hey, you know, maybe these girls are guilty, Etta." But Etta insists, "I know she's innocent. Please investigate this." Diana interviews the girls who swear they're innocent. So Diana goes to visit the FBI, who explains that a recent prisoner, the Baroness, who Wonder Woman had previously caught, has given them up as colluders. She has said that these two women work for the Nazis. Wonder Woman points out that, like, well, maybe she's lying. This is a really good point that's still relevant today. How exactly can you trust a coerced confession? The person could be lying or just telling you what they think you want to hear. It's quite confusing. Anyway, for now, the girls are in prison. The FBI thinks, no, they could be Nazi spies. Diana gets permission to interview the Baroness, and as she walks outside, she basically sees the Baroness has put on a guard's disguise and is running away. And she tries to chase after her, but she escapes right away. We're told that Wonder Woman is swift as Mercury. Well, what temperature does Mercury freeze at? Because she's about that fast. We quickly learn that the guard has been tied up by the Baroness. Another trope! Oh. Diana argues, surely this shows the Baroness's confession is false. But the FBI chief says, not at all. She turned in some punks for a chance to make good her own escape. The evidence against those college girls is ironclad. They must go to prison. What? The story is completely sidetracked when Diana gets a call from her mother on the mental radio, as they call it. That's right, the Amazons invented FaceTime 70 years early. Diana's mother reminds her that she needs to come home to celebrate Diana's Day, and Wonder Woman instantly agrees and gets permission to bring Etta along. Apparently, freeing these girls has just fallen by the wayside already. Then, as Wonder Woman, she sneaks up behind Steve Trevor and covers his eyes, and she says, "I am the moon goddess Diana. No mortal may see my face, but on festival day I bring gifts." Steve says, "Gifts? Moon goddess, I know your voice. It's Wonder Woman." Steve Trevor recognizes her voice. Her only disguise is just like Clark Kent, glasses. That's all she wears. But he recognizes her voice without seeing her. How does he not know that Diana Prince is not Wonder Woman? He should know that. Wonder Woman explains Diana's Day to Steve Trevor, and it's essentially a pagan version of Christmas set at the same time. So they worship the return of Diana's brother Apollo, bringing the sun closer to Earth. Wonder Woman also decides to leave the mental radio with Steve Trevor. No real explanation for why she does that, and nope, it does not become a plot point later. In fact, it seems to only be there so that Steve Trevor can condescendingly say, "Don't forget to send me Wonder Woman grams every day." Wonder Woman and Etta pack their trunks full of gifts for Diana's Day. They get in Etta's jalopy, and they are instantly tailed by the Baroness, who seems to be about all of 2 feet behind them. You sure you're close enough? You probably could get about a foot closer. The Baroness has a slave named Keela. She unlocks Keela from some restraints and tasks her with following Wonder Woman to Paradise Island to reveal its secret location, and she's chosen Keela because of her amazing strength. Keela was in bondage, so another trope. Keela pulls all of the packages out of the trunk in Wonder Woman's invisible jet and climbs into the trunk to stow away. And somehow Etta and Wonder Woman completely miss the fact that those packages are strewn all about, even though they are in an invisible plane. That face when you forgot to check your invisible cargo hold for terrorists. Wonder Woman gets home, hops on her mom's lap, and then her mom explains Diana's Day to us again, and adds the detail that this year Wonder Woman has been chosen to play act as Diana and has to wear a silver mask that no one is allowed to remove. This game starts off kind of weird. If anyone can remove the mask, they get to play Diana next year. Amazon Zoe tries right away, but Wonder Woman just basically tosses her on the ground and ties her right up. That's a trope. Keela runs up behind with a knife, is about to stab Wonder Woman in the back, but Wonder Woman blocks it with her bracelet. Zoe kicks the knife out of her hand, and Wonder Woman just tosses her right out the window and instantly loses track of where she went. Wonder Woman's reaction is a bit strange. She says, well, she looked like an Amazon. Maybe that was all a joke. If so, Diana's Day jokes suck worse than Carlos Mencia's. Various Amazons begin opening Wonder Woman's packages from Man's World, including golf clubs that they try to hit each other with, and a tennis racket that they try to spank one another with. Apparently Amazons are maybe slightly dumb. Phase 1 of the game ends with Wonder Woman removing the mask and revealing that she was playing Diana. We see Keela's thoughts as she thinks to herself, so she is Wonder Woman. I only attacked the goddess last night to take her place and search for my mistress enemy. Now I have found her. Keela attacking Wonder Woman was a coincidence. You can find other similar coincidences, like the sun rises in the east, in this month's edition of Coincidence Magazine. The next phase of the Amazon game involves all the girls that failed to remove Diana's mask being dressed up as deer, and now they have to run around on a hunt as does. Don't any of these Amazons actually have jobs? Etta Candy asks exactly what I've been wondering, why do they have to dress up like deer? And Wonder Woman explains that it's part of their mythology, explaining that the goddess Diana once caught a man spying on them, so she transformed him into a deer and then went on a hunt. Diana was the goddess of the hunt. So they're basically play acting at that, and Etta points out, like, hey, I can't exactly run after these broads in the costumes because I'm short and fat. Like, that's what she says, okay? Those are her words. Wonder Woman gives her a gigantic kangaroo to ride instead. This is a weird island. Wonder Woman instantly starts catching some of the Amazons dressed up in doe costumes and tying them right up. Tropes! Etta Candy just stands around with her lasso on the ground, and one of the does is dumb enough to simply walk into it, or so it seems. We hear her thoughts, and we can tell that it's actually Keela just trying to get closer to Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman and Etta come back with some of the tied-up girls. Wonder Woman says, I had luck. And Etta cracks me up with, I have a backache. Now the Amazons play act skinning the deer by taking off their costumes as they remain tied up. No wonder Christmas is more popular than Diana's Day. There's way too many steps to Diana's Day. The captured Amazons get baked into a fake pie, and then Wonder Woman pretends to carve one up, saying, I am serving you, friends, a dancing chicken. Wait, now the Amazon is a chicken, not a deer? I can't keep up. While the dinner celebration is going on, Etta Candy is just walking into the woods with her tied up deer. Where exactly did she plan on going with that girl? For some reason, Etta unties this deer, who is Keela, and Keela turns the tables and quickly ties up Etta. Tropes. Keela thinks to herself, the mistress told me that Amazons are invulnerable only so long as their queen wears this magic girdle. And she removes a girdle off of Queen Hippolyta in front of everybody. I've heard of pickpocketing, but this is ridiculous. Keela then whispers to Wonder Woman that Etta's life is in danger in the forest. Wonder Woman does not question at all why this information is coming from a complete stranger, runs into the woods, sees Etta bound up, and Keela starts fighting her. Keela is able to knock out Wonder Woman, and she ties her to a tree. That's another Wonder Woman trope. Now we cut to a Japanese battleship that the Baroness is commanding, and they're honing in on Keela's signal, which takes them through the mists to find hidden Amazon Island. And the less we say about this racist drawing, the better. The Amazons suddenly notice that the girl is missing. They use their tracking skills to follow the footprints into the woods, where they find Keela has Wonder Woman and Etta at knife point. But one of the Amazons, Mala, sneaks behind and frees Etta Candy while no one is looking. Mala actually was a supporting character throughout the comics. She was a pretty minor character, but every once in a while she had a moment to shine. She is one of the very few Amazons to have left their island. I think that her plane was stolen. She had a plane called the Swan plane. It wasn't quite as cool as the Invisible Jet, but anyway, she was a minor supporting character in the comics. And here she gets to be a hero. Etta Candy also gets to be a hero, knocking over Keela, who drops her knife. I may be fat like you say, girlie, but whoa, I've got personality! Unfortunately, Keela has a gun, but fortunately, Wonder Woman remembers that she's super strong and rips the tree right out of the ground. You know, like we saw on page 1. Very suspenseful. Wonder Woman swings the tree trunk around and knocks down Keela. Mala and Etta tie her up. Another trope. Wonder Woman notices that there are already binding marks all around Keela. That prompts her to investigate further, and she finds a radio transmitter, realizing that the Baroness and some Nazis are on their way. The Amazons rush to the ocean and dive into the water, fighting the Japanese invaders. They then cleverly swim underwater and begin pushing the battleship back. I'm going to totally skip over the racist dialogue because no good can come of that. By the way, take a look at this panel where the Amazons are pushing back the battleship. Look at how happy this little shark is. That's adorable. As soon as the battleship is pushed back through the mists, Steve Trevor happens to come by and bombs the ship, killing everyone. That's convenient. However, the Baroness had actually jumped ship and the Amazons instantly capture her. But this is interesting, and one of the things I really like about Wonder Woman, they don't put her in prison. They have an island that they call Reform Island, and their mission is always to rehabilitate their enemies, which is what Queen Hippolyta orders in this case. That's nice. Oh yeah, and we only have one panel left, but we're told that the Baroness's confession this time does free those two girls. That panel there kind of shows where William Moulton Marston's priorities were. The stakes initially were two innocent girls going to jail, but they just resolved that real quick in just one panel. The thing he was obviously way more interested in exploring was that elaborate game that all of the Amazons play to celebrate Diana's Day, dressing up as deer and capturing them and baking them in a pie, binding them up and unbinding them up. I mean, that's a lot of bondage for a 15-page story. Let me put it that way. Still, obviously, it's very, very fun. It's very creative. There's a lot of progressive elements that you can find within it that are admirable. You've got some very strong female characters, strong all around, not just physically. You've got Reform Island. And then unfortunately you have some pretty racist depictions of the Japanese, and that was what comics were at the time. It's too bad. It's very awkward and not especially funny, but it's also a very small part of the story. I hope you enjoyed this look at early Wonder Woman stories. I'm curious what the new movie will be like. I hope it's good. I really do. I would love to see a good Wonder Woman movie. I would love to see her become even more popular than she already is. But anyway, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for watching. We'll have some fun stuff next week. We're going to take a look at some monsters. We're going to take a look at some very strange monsters, actually. Anyway, until then, keep reading comics.